And hi, everybody. My name is Rachel Phillips. I am one of the health coaches here at Incenta Health. Thank you for joining us. Each Wednesday, we have this half an hour wellness chat for you all to hopefully get some questions answered. And hopefully it's a designated time for you all to practice well-being during your work week. The last Wednesday of the month, we always do a health coach Q&A. We love when we get your questions in. And if you have further questions that aren't on this today, feel free to pop them in the chat. But we will go through these like always. So question number one today, what are the benefits of taking a multivitamin? So the science isn't completely, doesn't say one way or the other, but according to Johns Hopkins University, multivitamins have no effect on our heart health, are reducing our cancer risk or our overall well-being, except for one, and that's being folate or folic acid, primarily in women who are of childbearing age who are who want to have a natural pregnancy. That one always helps with the spinal cord and neural column development of the fetus. So if you are of childbearing age and you are hoping to have a child, that's one good one to always implement. But for the most part, multivitamins, they don't necessarily give us all the good stuff that we want. A lot of the vitamins and minerals in them are lab created versus nature created, so they're just not bioavailable. And what that means is our body doesn't quite know how to utilize those nutrients within a multivitamin. And unfortunately, we end up excreting most of it. And when we look at multivitamins, there are certain things that we can excrete, and there are other things that get stored in our adipose. So you could see if you only take vitamin A supplements, you could possibly overdo it and see a vitamin A toxicity because it's fat soluble rather than water soluble. So if you are considering taking multivitamin, or if you do take a multivitamin, feel free to continue. There are no negative effects of taking a multivitamin. And they definitely can help fill the gaps if, you know, this weekend you're with your family and friends and there is not a vegetable or fruit in the foreseeable future for you. Taking a multivitamin or like a greens powder or something like that can help fill those nutritional gaps, but long term, it's better to get your nutrients from real foods rather than fortified foods. So like broccoli is a really high source of like iron and protein. Same with like spinach. So if you are iron deficient, getting those from real foods is always more favorable than not. Next question, how long should I work out for and how many days a week? And this question, like most, is it depends. If your goal is to run the Colfax Marathon in October, your workout schedule is probably going to look a little bit differently if you're just working out for basic health maintenance. A basic rule of thumb is you can pack a really good punch with your workout in like 30 to 45 minutes. So you don't have to spend a ton of time in the gym or on that run, whatever it is that you enjoy doing for your activity. There is also some science that shows at a certain point, it's about 60 minutes. If you continue to overdo it, we actually release more cortisol, which is a stress hormone, which doesn't do good things to our bodies. So if you're like, I am great for that half an hour HIIT class or Orange Theory class or whatever it is, half an hour is great. And how many days a week? And that we're talking about that moderate to vigorous activity, the activity where you, it's a little bit harder to hold a conversation or you can't hold that conversation at all because you're pushing that hard. We look for that like 4 to 5 days a week, no more than 4 to 5 days a week. We always want those rest days. It's the same. If you think about anything in your life, you need to take a nap, you need to rest. In those 2 to 3 days that we have as I like to call them active rest. You can still move, garden, clean your house, go for a walk with the kids, play catch, whatever it is. That's considered active rest. You can do those on the other days where you're not getting that heart rate super high. If you're running, weightlifting, whatever your flavor of activity is. So working out 30 to 45 minutes, 4 to 5 days a week, and then having those active rest days or just plain old rest days for the rest of the week. So how do I increase my lean muscle mass? With weight loss, we see a decrease of adipose tissue, so fat tissue, and an increase of lean muscle mass. And how do we do that? A lot of it is through weight-bearing exercises, so walking, running, playing tennis, any sport where you have to move your body. Always can increase your lean muscle mass as well as weightlifting. And if that's just not your thing, you can try body weights to help decrease that adipose level and increase that lean muscle mass. An increase in lean muscle mass tends to make us look a little bit more toned, as people would say it. It doesn't make us bulky, but it just kind of slims us down. So Jerry asked the question, what about the ad that talks about the freeze-dried fruits and veggies all your body needs in the 2 pills they display on the ad? Jerry, I honestly don't know. I can do some research behind that and connect with you offline if that would be helpful. Awesome. That's a really good question. Do you happen to know the brand name?
I can't remember what it is. I see it advertised all the time about how it's helped all these people with their aches and pains and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do some research. A lot of times when something sounds a little bit too good to be true, it is too good to be true. So let me do some research and I can get back to you. Okay, great question. Thank you, Jerry. Cool, let's continue on. Number 4, what can I do about my muscle soreness? So muscle soreness is a natural part of getting active, doing a new thing with your body repeatedly. I was a little bit sore yesterday because I was literally scooping compost at my garden. That's just not a movement that I do very often, and I activated different muscles. There are 2 different types of soreness. The soreness that's a little bit of an ache that you can probably get rid of with maybe ibuprofen. And then there's the muscle soreness where you're like, I can't even move my body. We try to not get to that level of muscle soreness. That means you've overdone it and need to back off just a little bit on what you're doing. But that moderate muscle soreness is completely normal. It's basically, so our muscle fibers look like this at any given time. My fingers don't really touch. And when you work them out by lifting weights, running, whatever it is, you break your muscle fibers and then they grow back stronger and thicker. And that's how we gain muscle mass. So that muscle soreness is just that process of tearing your muscle fibers and then healing back together. Couple things to do with muscle soreness. One is get good sleep. Our body really uses that time to re-energize, to refuel, to take care of all of the things that need to be taken care of. There's a lot that goes on while we sleep. Number 2 is drink a lot of water. That will help circulate any of the lactic acid buildup, which is a byproduct of that muscle tearing. That'll help circulate that out and we'll excrete it. Number 3 is take a hot bath, with some Epsom salt, something to relieve. Just like if you were to hurt your ankle, you would probably ice it or put some heat on it, same thing, or a sore back type of thing, not a hurt ankle. And then if you are really sore to the point where you're like, this is just uncomfortable, please feel free to take that day off from working out. We don't want to continue to add insult to injury. We want to give our body plenty of time and space to heal. And if you're worried of no, I have to get my movement in, it's part of my goal, the active recovery of stretching, doing yoga, going for a gentle walk are all really good with helping move all of the blood and lactic acid and all of that through our system as well. So if you're experiencing muscle soreness, know that it is completely normal. Get some good sleep, eat good foods, drink plenty of water, and take a hot bath. And like I said, you can also take like a Motrin, Tylenol, if it's just a little bit too much to bear. Oh, there we go. I think I missed one. So what steps can I take to make my wellness journey sustainable? And this is going to look a little bit different for everybody. All of us have different wellness journeys. We all have different goals. And it's funny enough, my sister just asked me how to do this morning. So I am a firm believer in start with one thing. Our brains are not very good at taking in multiple changes all at once. We are very much creatures of habit. And we can't sustain 5 changes all at the same time. So start with one. Thank you, Jerry. Start with one that feels like a quick and easy win. When you're paying off debt, and I know this is a weird way to equate this, but when you pay off debt, there's a couple different thoughts, right? Like pay off your smallest balance first, so you can feel that like, okay, I'm doing something. Kind of the same idea with starting your health and wellness journey. Find that one thing that's your easy win. So for you, it might be adding in an extra 20 minutes of activity in a day. It could be getting rid of all of the soda in your house. So find that one easy win, practice it for a couple weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, and then pick your next easy win all the way up until you see the habits that you want to see. And that's true of any habit, not just health and wellness habits. So I hope that helps. I'm a firm believer in like writing everything down too. So if you're like, these are the 4 things that I want to do for my health and wellness journey at this point for the next month, these are the 4 things I want to do. Pick one of them, and maybe next month you pick the next one. What can I do to support my own mental well-being? I think this is a pretty common question right now, especially in the COVID thaw. I know life is a little bit different for a lot of us. We may be going back into the office. We have these social engagements again. And life just doesn't look the same way that it did, 16 months ago. So if you are feeling mentally depleted, maybe a little bit more anxious, on edge, you're having feelings of depression, I always encourage you to find professional help, whether that's a licensed social worker, therapist, psychiatrist, whatever feels right to you. But you have permission to seek out that mental health support by a trained professional. In the meantime, because sometimes we just have bad days or off days where we need to just self-care a little bit more. And I'm a huge fan of self-care. And again, this looks a little bit differently than for everybody. So find those things that make you feel good, that don't feel like a chore, and that you can do when you're feeling overwhelmed, sad, whatever it could be. I've gotten the advice from therapists in the past of like, when you're having a good day and you are in a good mental space, that's when you write down all of your tips and tricks, the people that you can reach out to, what makes you feel good, rather than, in the moment you're feeling very desperate for something and you're like, I don't know what to do to make me feel a little bit better. So instead you like grab the bottle of wine or the tub of ice cream, which just kind of creates this whole negative loop. So practicing daily self-care and being very intentional on that. Maybe it's waking up a couple minutes earlier in the morning so you can have a quiet time to drink your coffee, to read the paper, to do a meditation, to journal, whatever it could be. And setting boundaries when you're having those days. So, if I were having a really bad day today, I'm not. But Wednesdays, I have a standing time that I get together with some girlfriends. But if I was having a really bad day, I would say, hey, like I just can't make it tonight. And then I would practice my self-care of, making a home cooked meal, watching something pleasant on the television that I know will make me feel good, and going to bed at an early hour supports my mental well-being. So if you have any good tips or tricks on how you support your own mental well-being, feel free to throw those in the chat. You can always, always, always learn from each other. Oh, I thought I had more questions today, so I apologize. We are near the end. So upcoming topics over the next couple weeks. Next week, we're going to talk about fun in the sun and staying well during the summer months, the hottest months. And we all know that it has been hot for different parts of the country. So looking forward to that one. The week after, we're going to talk about Parks and Rec Month, how to get active and engaged with your local Parks and Rec. I have to sneeze, I'm sorry. Wednesday, we're doing a topic on counting macros. I love counting macros. For those of you that don't know my background, I have multiple degrees in nutrition and dietetics, so I could talk about food all day. And then the last week of July, as always, we will have that health coach Q&A. We send those emails out for your questions, or you can send them to us at personal.trainer.com. As always, if you have missed a session or you're like, that was a really good session, I want to share it with somebody in my life, head over to incentahealth.com/wellness chats. Our entire library is there of all of these that we've done since the beginning of the year. I think we're up to like 25 of them. And they are free for you to view, to share, to exchange. The bigger the reach, the better. We absolutely love having that. And I sent out a feedback survey last week. If you have feedback, feel free to look for that email, or you can email us at personal.trainer@incentahealth.com. If there are any topics you would like for us to cover, I have only one brain, so new ideas are always great. I very much look forward to those. And as always, if you have any specific questions for you can chat with us in-app or on the website. We have health coaches standing by to help you work through some of those things. Do I have any last minute lingering questions for today? I just spilled water all over myself. Thanks, Jerry. Well, with that, my friends, I hope you all have a very safe and happy holiday.